What's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of the Powerhouse Mentality Podcast. I'm your host. I am Caitlin Kenna Smith, and today I'm joined by Victoria Johnson, a registered nurse, supplement educator, and someone who's seen health from both sides. She's worked in the ICU, lived through her own struggles with underfueling and disordered eating, and now uses her voice to help people better understand fitness, nutrition, and what actually matters for long-term health. In this episode, we talk about what healthcare taught her, how social media misinformation can quietly wreck your relationship with food, and why more women need to stop chasing smaller and start chasing stronger. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the episode. Victoria, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me, Caitlin. I'm super excited to be here.
I'm so pumped. I was thinking about it, and you're like one of the first female guests that I have had on in such a long time. Like, I think the last time I had another girl was like 6 months ago, and I don't know why.
Our industry, there's not a lot of females
Yeah, I
interested.
think that's really what it comes down to, right? Because I've been having a lot more people who are like in the supplement industry and energy drinks, and there's not a lot of girls, which I think works to our advantage in some way.
Definitely. Yeah.
So for the people who have no idea who you are, they maybe if they're watching this, they might recognize your face from Price Plow, but tell the people who you are, what you do. If we were in an Uber and I turned around, I was like, hey, what do you do? Answer my question.
It's funny because I was at an event recently where that was a topic of conversation is to get your pitch down and succinct. And I have my hand in a lot of different things, and I've been that way for a really long time. So my pitch is a little too long currently, but I will make it as short as possible. So I do have a full-time job as a registered nurse. I'm very grateful to be in a telehealth remote position currently. And I did used to work in the ICU, and that's where I got started and did most of my nursing career. And I've been a nurse almost 10 years now. And I really just got a passion for fitness and supplements, and I started creating some content, and it just has developed from there. So I enjoy doing that and sharing my knowledge. And it was definitely because of my nursing background of science and the body, I got into and discovered the supplement world and was like, wow, this is really cool. And just started learning about all the different things the same way I was learning about medications in a sense and how everything works. And then the other thing I do is I have an Airbnb with my fiance, Jonathan. So that is certainly a huge part of our life and project that we are continuing to grow.
That's awesome. How did you get into the Airbnb thing? Because I feel like that's something that people think about. I've totally thought about it, but then I'm just like, I don't know if I can actually make that work. But were you guys always thinking about it or just land in your lap?
We have always been interested in real estate investment and like working for ourselves, building our own thing. And we were initially going to do long-term rentals, and we changed trajectory when we ended up finding this home. Honestly, just started running the numbers, and we were like, I think we can make this work. And so we just took some chances, took some huge leaps because we had been living in Illinois at the time and moved to South Carolina to buy this house and start this thing. And it has been working.
Oh
So
shit, yeah, you moved like your whole life for it. That's crazy.
yeah, that wasn't on the initial cards in the initial plans, but it has been really awesome so far. We love doing this and we learn new things every single day, and that's what we love as well.
Where in South Carolina is it?
We are in Greenville, so it's
Mm.
considered upstate. It's about 3 to 4 hours from the coast.
That's a pretty poppin' area, I think, Greenville, South Carolina. So it
It
actually
is,
is a really good area to have that. Is there a college near it?
yeah, Clemson University is 30 minutes from our house. So we're hoping to bring in some Clemson football groups because it's a place where large groups can stay. We did have one group last year come in for a Clemson game and stay there.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And so the biggest thing obviously is that you're a registered nurse. And I feel like so many people, at least when I post on social media, they're like, what are your credentials? Obviously, like I have a degree and things like that. But even like education is something that you teach yourself, but you legitimately put yourself through, we'll call it hell in a sense, because I know I've had a lot of people who go through the nursing program and don't make it out alive. What made you first get into nursing? Was that something you always wanted to do?
I had always been interested in the science, the human body. Kind of thought I wanted to be a doctor for a little while, but decided I didn't want to do that much schooling.
Yeah.
And my mom is a nurse too, so I grew up around that my whole life. And I was like, you know what? This makes sense. Let's do it. And I'm really happy that I have gone down that path and where it has led me, honestly.
And you've been a nurse for almost 10 years, you said?
Yeah, I was just looking at it's 2026 and doing the math on
Somehow.
that.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So then I have to ask, how was it during 2020?
Interesting. That is the word I use to describe it as in a broad term. I had started travel nursing actually in 2019. So
Mm.
I was already travel nursing and then COVID hit. So I continued doing travel nursing through all that time. But it was weird. It was interesting. It was honestly
Yeah.
sad the way that our healthcare system has progressed since then. And it has led to a lot of nurses, like myself included, burnout, overwork, understaffed. They just ask us to do more and more things while honestly reducing our pay rates. And that did drive me to look outside of the hospital for work. And during that same time is when I started getting more into supplements and some content creation as well. And I'm really happy that I am seeing another side of, I don't want to call it healthcare, but it's helping people live healthier lives, but in a different way from in the hospital.
Mhm.
And essentially, what we focus on is a lot of prevention, which is
Correct.
something that isn't focused on enough in the way that our healthcare system in general is built, which is really sad. So I love that we are able to hopefully help people avoid hospital stays. And because in working in the ICU, a lot of patients I would encounter, they just have so many of those preventable lifestyle comorbidities, and you
Mhm.
stack them all on each other, and then you get a small sickness. For that person, it's not so small anymore. And then they wind up seeing me in critical care, and it's never a good situation.
Yeah. Yeah. I like the way that you worded that. It's like we're being proactive with helping people, like teaching them the basics of the lifestyle changes they can make to prevent being in that situation in the first place, where they don't even need to consider like the medications and all these reactive cares.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what I want to focus on, just continue to focus on more and more. And we both want to continue to make as big of impact as we can on people.
I love that. So let me let's start a little bit with how did you get into fitness in the first place? I know that's like a broad question, but I feel like everybody has an idea of what got them there.
Yeah, definitely. I was always active and in sports growing up. And then my first job at the end of high school was at a gym. I was working in the childcare area. And I got a free membership with that. So I was like, well, I'm literally already here. I might as well use this free membership because I was at the end of high school, sports were done. And so I just wanted to continue that activity. And I'm just really happy with the way that it all aligned. Because sometimes when I think about it, if I didn't have that gym membership specifically at that gym, I'm not sure I would have been going to the gym right after high school and all through college. I may have found it a different way, but I know that was a very, maybe a catalyst point or a dividing point. And the gym also offered amazing group fitness classes. So that's what I was doing a lot of initially before I got into more bodybuilding style training programming. And I love them. I still love going to group fitness classes when I can.
Mhm.
It's a really fun environment to do different things.
I love that you actually took advantage of your free membership because I used to manage gyms, and the amount of people who were my employees who were either front desk or childcare or even trainers who wouldn't take advantage of their free membership just made me angry in a sense. You're here, please use it and please better yourself through it because fitness just makes you better, period, end of story, mentally and emotion and physically, like all the things. So you started with the group exercise classes, but how did you transition into weightlifting and bodybuilding style training? Because for a lot of females, and I know we'll get into this, they are almost afraid to lift weights because they're afraid to get bulky, and they always just either go straight to the group exercise because it's a little bit less scary, or they just go to the cardio area because same thing, it's, oh, I know how to work a treadmill but I don't really know how to work that dumbbell.
Yeah, I think there was one class at the gym that was a strength focused class, and it was pretty much all females in there
Hmm.
that we were doing shoulder presses, bicep curls, rows. Like it was all dumbbells in the room. So I wasn't using the heavy weights I'm using now, but it was absolutely a start for not just the hit boot camp spin classes, because that's a lot of what I was doing. And so definitely that class that was like strength focused only really got me more into lifting and strength. And then I think it was through social media that I would save people's workouts that they post and just got myself into my schedule wasn't as great to make it to the classes. So I was like, I needed to figure out what to do on my own now. And yeah, all the workouts that people posted in the 2016 Instagram fitness era.
What a time that was.
Yeah, definitely.
It was literally like peak fitness for like social media, YouTube, everything like that. Did you watched YouTube at all? Like fitness YouTube?
I wasn't super big into fitness YouTube. Like I knew who the people were, but
Yeah.
I didn't watch a ton of it.
It's funny when you
I
look back at those people too, like Christian Guzman and Heidi Summers and Max Tuning and like where they are now to versus where they were. It's like really weird.
and I love those people. I
Yes.
love Buff Bunny Collection and definitely very familiar with them, but I love using those as great examples of this is what's possible, or like almost anything crazy is possible. Just
Hmm.
get started with something, and I'll certainly kick myself forever for not posting on social media sooner, because I was in the gym all the time. I was going to nursing school. I was also working multiple part-time jobs. I'm that's try to do it all, juggle way too much person, and I still am that way, a detriment at times, but
Yeah.
certainly it has gotten me to where I am
I feel
also.
that. And I also like how you added like, but it's also gotten to me to where I am because so many people think like, there's always going to be balance in life, but that's not necessarily correct. Sometimes you're going to have to stretch yourself really thin in order to make shit happen, really.
Yeah. Yeah. And that word balance, I know it gets like overused, and I've heard people talk about it in terms of equilibrium instead. And there's just going to be seasons where sometimes you have to focus more on one area and let something else not have as much focus. And you just have to be okay with that if you have certain goals that you want to achieve. And yeah, we know that you and I know there just are sacrifices that have to be made, but when it's for a goal we want, we're fine with that.
Totally worth it, right? You only live once.
Yeah.
And I
We
like to
will.
use it in like the different way where it's like, you only live once. Let me go out and like party my face off. No, it's let me stay up late and work on my business or let me like work on my craft.
Yeah, and eat boring meals and take
Yeah,
care of my health because I only get this one body.
correct. Yeah. I don't know about you, but I feel a hell of a lot better when I'm actually eating whole nutrient dense foods, like working out daily, like keeping commitments to myself versus, oh, let me eat all these cookies and go out drinking. That doesn't feel good.
It really doesn't. Yeah, it adds up on the feeling of your body. And that's something that having an eating disorder past, which I know we have both experienced that, I'm sure different experiences, but also similar, is oh, I absolutely just lost my train of thought there.
Well, that's okay. We can get into that then. So, how did you transition from I'm doing these exercise classes, I'm going to nursing school, I'm weightlifting? How did the eating disorder come about?
I think it was also through what was on social media, and not to blame external factors because I am responsible for my choices, but there was information and I didn't know what I didn't know. And there was a lot of information of just eat less and move more. And I was like, okay, great,
Yep.
got it. And I
Like
was
those
like,
1200 calorie like posts, like this is what a 1200 calorie diet looks like. It's okay, that's how I'll eat then.
yes. And I was far too active. And I'm also 5'5", so it's not like I'm a under 5 foot female or
Yeah.
something. Yeah, I'm a very active person, and I just kept decreasing calories. And it did get to a point where I know I was like, wow, I'm so great. I can do this and push myself. And then ultimately it turned down a not healthy road, of course. But it often starts from a good place. I was
Yes.
like, okay, I'm not happy with how I look and I have some extra body fat on me, so I can work on that and I can start counting calories. And it opened my eyes in a good sense to these foods are heavily calorie dense and these foods are better for me. But then that can be taken towards an unhealthy extreme, which it ended up going that way.
I also like how you added that because I think that so many people they look at fitness and they're like everybody has an eating disorder or everybody has disordered eating. And that's not necessarily true, although a lot of people do struggle or have struggled with it, but
Mm.
it all didn't start that way. It came from I just want to be a healthier version of myself. But then other extremes pushed more onto you, like social media or what we see in the media, period. And just also watching like people's highlight reels, and you think, oh, this person looks like this all year round when it's actually just them at a photo shoot that they took when they were super dieted down lean.
Yeah, exactly. Where else was I going with that?
So, with your eating disorder, how bad did it get? Because I know, like, for me, I can't even remember parts of my life because of how bad it was. But I respect how you said it got to the point where you were like, I feel really good about myself. Like I'm able to push myself. I'm able to do these things. Like for me specifically, I remember when I would eat like 500 calories a day, I'd be like, oh yeah, I have discipline. Like I don't need to eat more than this. And then all of a sudden it like catches up to you and your body's actually, we need you to eat more than this, please.
Yeah, that was something that I was telling myself too. I was like, I am so disciplined. I am so good at this. And I also specifically remember when I looked up the governmental RDA recommendations for protein, and it
Oh,
was for,
dangerous.
yeah. And again, I didn't know what I didn't know. And when this started, I was in nursing school. But again, there's one tiny nutrition course that
Yeah.
really is not adequate. And when I looked at the nurses a few years later, when I was graduated working, especially as a travel nurse, working on so many different units, seeing all of these different nurses around me, the majority of them were honestly not very healthy people, which is very sad. So
Yeah.
back to, I looked up that RDA and I was like, oh, so I only need to eat 80 grams of protein for my height or whatever. Great. That's an area where I can cut some calories down. And then that one of the places where my body was like, we can't do this anymore was I have super long hair, as you might have
Mhm.
seen. My hair got so thin that ultimately I had to cut it to about here because it was just brittle, thin, like falling out. And I was like, oh, this is really sad. I need to do something about this because I've always loved my long natural hair. I've never had extensions in, and I did get healthy, grew it all back, and it's fantastic now. But again, just part of that misinformation, and I didn't know what I didn't know at the time. So it's just a process of always being open to learning and changing based on new information, which is
Mhm.
exactly what we still do now.
And for me, like it was similar in a sense. I was really focused on protein. So like I would eat all of my calories from protein and just like vegetables
Mm.
essentially. And I remember there was a time where I would have peanut butter at night, like with Greek yogurt. And then eventually I was like, that has too many calories. I need to have PB2. Right. Or I'd set out to eat this apple, but no, social media, it said fruit has too much sugar. And that's why I do what I do, where I'm like, hey, let me help people navigate the bullshit of social media, of the industry, of fitness and health, because I know what it looks like and feels like to be on the other side where you are a victim to all those things because there's so much information out there and you can literally find anything that you want. Like when I post a video where it's energy drinks are killing you, just kidding, they're not. Here's what actually matters. There are people who are like, no, I can find this online that says they are killing you. I could also find that it doesn't. So there's just so much information out there and it's really hard to go through. But when it comes to nursing school, because you said you were in nursing school when this started, did that change your mindset or outlook on health and nutrition?
Sadly, don't think that it did. I certainly seemed like one of the healthiest since I was at the time basing mainly on maybe thinness.
Yeah.
So I had seemed like one of the healthiest in my nursing classes. And again, we got one tiny nutrition course, and everything else is on pathophysiology and diseases and medications and CPR, that sort of thing. So I don't know that it really did change that actually. And it was more outside of there. And I also had some people in my life who were like, hey, is everything okay? What's going on? You're quite small. And I will actually never forget one of the sweetest older gentleman members at our gym, and this is a gym that I worked at for a very long time. So you got to know all the regular people. And one day he had pulled me aside and he was like, you need to go get a cake shake from Portillo's, living in the Midwest. And he
That's
handed me
crazy.
some money for it. And I feel like tearful thinking about it again because that was so genuine and sweet of him that he saw me all the time at the gym as an employee and saw me change, and he knew that it wasn't a good change.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely can relate to that. I would have my college professors would come up to me and be like, "Hey, are you okay?" Because I got to the point like, my hair got really thin too, but the biggest thing that happened to me was I was eating so many carrots and sweet potatoes that my skin turned orange because I was so malnourished. So I was like almost orangey. So I looked like I had a bad spray tan, but then I'd also be like ghostly white at times too. So it'd just be like so bad. I don't know why that happened, but it just if you look at photos of me, it's like I'm either like a vampire or a fucking Oompa Loompa that forgot to eat.
Oh my, I didn't even know that you
Yeah,
one could consume so many carrots and sweet potatoes because I do
apparently.
love those foods and I
I
all the
think it has to
time.
do with like how much you're eating based on like how much your body can actually like flush things out. So I think my body was just so stressed. I couldn't even imagine like what my hormone profile looked like then because it looks terrible now. So I couldn't even imagine what it looked like then because I feel like do people actually get blood work done when they have an eating disorder? Probably not because they're avoiding medical places at all costs.
Yeah, I don't think I had gotten any labs drawn during those few years. And I know that quite a few years later, when I was working with a coach, I got labs multiple times, and there was still like downstream
Mm-hmm.
hormonal disruption effects, which was also compounded by I had been on birth control pill for
Mm-hmm.
almost 10 years.
Yeah.
And then I was on the pill during my eating disorder time. So that may have masked if my body would have lost a period on its
Mm,
own, that may have masked that. So I'll never know. And then going through that, and I'm sure taking a lot of necessary hormones because I reduced fat intake a ton. And then
yeah.
also a few years later, stopping birth control when I was enlightened to that a long-term effect on my body, which once again, we come nursing in the healthcare system is more prescription oriented, and our supplement side is obviously not. So I am glad that I am more focused on the non-prescription side of things now.
Yeah. No, birth control can be. I have a client who was on birth control for 16 years and her periods were so bad. And so she didn't tell me she was on birth control. I've been coaching her for 5 years at this point, and 2 years deep, she still hasn't told me. And I was like trying to figure out, okay, what's going on? Why are your menstrual cycles this bad? It would get to a point where she's bleeding 3 weeks out of the month. It would be like 1 week, take a couple days off, another week. It was just so bad. And I was like, is this always like this? And she's like, yeah, I've been on birth control for 14 years. And the last couple of years, it's been really bad, but I just live with it because her doctors are like, it's over, which is crazy. I feel like a lot of doctors don't take female health as seriously because we don't complain as much when we're in a lot of pain, and men, when they're in a little bit of pain, complain a lot. So I feel like it has a
Mhm.
lot to do with that. But she got off of it, I think, last year and completely normal periods now.
That's
I
amazing.
know it's crazy how it had to be that long for her to be to like almost speak up for herself and advocate for herself. But
Mhm.
it worked out really well. So like birth control is one of those things where they tried to put me on birth control when I was, I think 21 maybe. At that point I had lost my period. I still haven't gotten it back. I lost it in 2012 when I had my eating disorder. And it was so I got such bad side effects that I couldn't get out of bed for a week.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I'm a sensitive person when it comes to medication. So I try to, hey, how can I prevent this through my lifestyle, but also like supplementation and things like that? Which obviously, as we know, supplementation isn't necessary for results, but it can help fill nutrient gaps, which could prevent lifestyle things.
Absolutely. And this is just something I was thinking about the other day is I have a pill box and I've shown it on Reels before of all the different things I take in the morning. And a lot of them are just like daily maintenance things. And
Mm-mm.
somehow our society has normalized when someone has a list of 12 plus prescriptions. But if I want to take some, just thinking off of what's in my current stack, like a vitamin D, I've got the alpha lipoic acid, I have
Mm-hmm.
HMB, I've got quercetin, turmeric, like very normal things. And somehow that's weird of me.
That's crazy. That's kind of like when if I'm on an airplane and I whip out my chicken and rice, that's
Hmm.
weird. But if you sit there and eat Taco Bell, like that's completely normal.
Yep, I was back to me being working in the hospital and I worked at over 15 different places during my travel nursing time. So that was 15 different units and groups of staff. And there would be two, one to two or zero other people on the units who brought their lunch every single day.
Which blows
And
my mind. How much money are you freaking spending on food? Goodness.
I know. Yeah, I was the type of person, I worked some travel nurse contracts, and this specifically during COVID, they were a little bit different where we would get a daily food stipend. And I Instacarted all of my meal prep items to the hotel. Even when you pay a little bit more through Instacart, I was pocketing so much extra money because of all of those daily stipends and then my grocery bills for the 8 weeks versus all of the other girls who Uber Eats every meal. And I was like, so I'm eating better and I'm saving more money or making more money in a sense.
Yeah, it blows my mind when people are like, "Oh, I don't know what I'm going to have for lunch. I'll go find something." I'm just like, "What do you mean? I know what I'm going to have for lunch next week." What
Yeah.
the hell are you talking about?
Yeah. It honestly, though, when it can feel or seem daunting to
Mm,
someone on
for
the
sure.
outside. And once you start those habits and you don't have to do all of them at once, but I try to tell people it's about stacking like a bunch of little tiny habits and then they become ingrained, like the way that you brush your teeth every morning and you charge your phone at a certain time of day. It's like the things you do all the time, they just become easier just by
Mm-hmm.
doing them and it just becomes part of your normal life.
100%. And I think with food specifically, people get very overwhelmed because I'm going to like point at social media a little bit, but all these recipes and stuff. And I have clients who are like, "Do you have any good recipes for meal prep?" And I'm like, "Yeah, cook a bunch of chicken, cook a bunch of beef, cook a bunch of rice, and then you can mix and match whatever you need. Cook a bunch of potatoes." I prefer not meal prep, but ingredient prep. So cook your ingredients and then throw them together throughout the week, and boom, you have meals. You can use different macro friendly sauces or seasonings. You can add different veggies or different fruits or whatever you need. And that's way less daunting than let me create this like chicken enchilada thing that I have to eat now for the next 7 days, and I don't want to eat it for the next 7 days.
That is exactly what we do. And I know you're a two person household, same with
Mm-hmm.
us. And so him and I have different macro needs. We have different preferences of carb sources or vegetables. So yeah, I call it bulk prep and or
Mm-hmm.
ingredient prep. It's the same thing, cooking all of the meat. Like he does rice. I don't really like rice. So I like sourdough bread and a lot of fruit. And then we always do frozen veggies so that I can rotate which vegetable I'm eating in my beef bowl every day. Like, three options, and then just a couple low calorie sauces and they don't even have to be the fancy, expensive ones. Like flavored mustards are
Yeah,
fantastic.
mustard is my shit. I'll take mustard all
Yes.
day long. And then my husband's like a big hot sauce guy, and so it's
Oh,
like perfect, 0 calories.
yeah, and those are the easy ways. I know what you're talking about with the social media recipes because I used to save them too. And
Hmm.
then I really did get to the point where I'm like, I'm never making any of these because you know what? I don't like things that have a bunch of different ingredients. Like,
Same,
even
same.
I realized that people making those crazy Ninja Creamy recipes,
Too much.
I literally just combine milk and protein powder now. I don't even buy sugar-free pudding. I used to do that, but I'm like, it's two ingredients, less work.
Same. I never ever did anything else other than just I do almond milk and whatever protein powder. And people always ask me, "Oh, what's your recipe?" I'm like, literally almond milk and protein powder. I don't know how else to explain it to you. If your Ninja Creamy is coming out shitty, you're probably doing something wrong when it comes to the spin, and or you're using shitty protein.
Yeah, I will say not all protein powders are the
Correct.
right texture for it.
Mhm.
And just because I'm grateful to have a lot of protein powder options, I just started sometimes doing a half scoop of this, half scoop of that. And
It's
it
always what
tastes.
I do because I like to mix different. If I'm doing like, ooh, I want to have a little bit of whey isolate, but I don't want it to be like icy, I'm going to do some whey concentrate with it.
Yeah, and that's the way to get around like the certain textures of proteins and then flavor combinations. Yeah. It doesn't have to be as complicated, and I've been there before for sure where I thought I had to make these recipes and buy too many ingredients.
Yeah, I'm so the same where it's like all these recipes, they look great, but I just give me chicken and rice. Like just give me like two things, like ingredients and a veggie, bread, like fruit. Those are my like staples and it's just so much easier too and it's way cheaper. I remember like my husband was like, "Oh, I really want to like bulk prep these like breakfast burrito things." And it was like so many ingredients. I was like, "Why the hell am I buying all of these groceries?"
Yeah, we did that like once or twice where he found a recipe and we made the whole thing and then portioned it all out and put them all in the freezer. And we're like, this is ultimately too much work,
Yeah,
honestly.
too
And
much work.
we have one meal prep place that, or a couple locally that we like to keep just a few on hand in the freezer as a
Yeah.
just in case. And yeah,
Makes it super easy. Yeah, I think like that stems back to like why so many people get like either overly restrictive with their food because they get so obsessed with the meticulous things that don't even matter, or they never even jump into fitness in the first place because they overthink everything and they think it has to be so complex and complicated when it's just like, no, keep it simple. If you think this, probably dumb it down a lot more.
yeah. And even just one more thing with meal prep is I will sometimes cook a lot of ground beef and freeze half of it. So that
Smart.
way I've done all of the work, the cooking, the washing of the pans. And next week I can just pull that out of the freezer, the already cooked something.
That's smart.
So, and like rice freezes fine too. I mean,
Yeah.
not everything freezes, but
Yeah.
a lot of
I think
things
it's
do.
just super smart to have like backup things on hand all the time. And that even goes to what I teach my clients is I have several clients who are either they work at a desk or they're a teacher. And sometimes they have moments where it's shit, I forgot my meal prep, or oh no, I don't have enough time to eat it. Cool. Have an oh shit stash where it's like I have
Mhm.
protein bars, I have some protein powders, or I have some like tuna packets or beef sticks or just easy things that you can grab and go.
Exactly. Yeah, I wish I had created content when I was
Right.
nursing, showing off all of the meals that I would bring because when I'm gone for usually about 14 hours, when I'm at the hospital for 13, then we've got commutes and everything, that's not just one meal, that's breakfast, lunch, evening snack situation. Packing a lot of food, and I had to rely on some convenience products to be able to eat them at the nurse's station. JCO, that never happened. It's one of the credentialing organizations. But I had to be able to find some of those convenience products, and then we try to pick ones that are better for us than others. And we still rely on those when we have super busy days and between meal situations. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Now, when it comes to your eating disorder, how did you get out of that? Because obviously, getting into it is one story, but getting out of it is like a whole nother fucking beast.
Yeah, that has been a it was a multi-year process that seems like it was longer than the actual eating disorder part
Yeah.
itself. And it was a lot of mental work for sure. Yeah, trying to think of even where to start with how I started getting over that. But ultimately, I did just have to like force myself in a way to eat more. I was like, you just have to eat more. You not fuel yourself anymore. And if you want to get better at the gym, because I love activity and I wanted to get stronger, I had to tell myself, like, if you want to get better here, you need to eat more. But then there's struggles, of course, with watching the scale weight go up and
Yeah.
watching your body change again. And I had gone through a period where I gained weight back very quickly. So then I got into a body shape that I did not love again. And there was some journaling that definitely helped me get the focus away from how I look and my physical scale weight. And I
Mhm.
had to start thinking about how I feel internally in my head, what I'm capable of, because throughout this, I've always been a very I call myself a high performing individual. I'm doing a lot, very social person. And so I was like, I have all of these things going on that have no bearing on the size of my body and my scale weight. And I need to focus on those a lot more. And then it's also like relearning how to fuel myself
Yeah, that's a big
for
thing that not a lot
activity.
of girls I feel like talk about is you get really good at ignoring your hunger signals. And then I work with girls who they're not, I would never work with somebody who has an active eating disorder because I just feel like that's unethical. I will help somebody who's recovered. And the biggest thing that I find is that they're like, oh, I can't eat that much protein because I'm not hungry for it. And it's, you don't have to be like starving to death to eat, you know that. And it's just like a revelation that it took me a while to realize like, I used to have stupid food rules, and I still have some stupid food rules, which I need to continue to get over. But it's like, I can't eat two unless it's 2 hours apart, or I need to be like, my stomach needs to be like gurgling and then I can eat. And I feel like a lot of girls struggle with that because they think, oh, if I'm not hungry, then I shouldn't eat, when that's not necessarily the case. Like, you don't have to be almost passing out in order to eat.
Yeah, definitely relearning those hunger cues because internally our leptin and ghrelin were all sorts of
Fucked up.
not working properly. So in order to get those working again, but it's also mentally related with your hunger cues. Yeah, that was a big part of not ignoring when I actually felt hungry. And admittedly, sometimes I will still be like, it's not time to eat yet. What are you doing? And then I'm
I do
like,
that all the
hold
time.
on a moment, Victoria. Like the internal conversation going on in my brain, like the two little characters. Hold on a moment. You are hungry. Your activity is actually increased recently. You probably
Mhm.
need to eat right now so that you can go perform better at the gym. I still have moments where I have to reframe it and think about how I feel and how I perform, not just about dumb calories, but they're not dumb. They are important and
No,
valid.
absolutely. And that's how I look at it too. And I find that in order to get somebody out of that like mindset where they're so hyper focused on their body image and so hyper focused on the number on the scale, is to have them direct their attention towards something else, which would be like the things that you're capable of and your body is capable of, regardless of what the scale says. Because the reality is, the scale isn't the best unit of measurement for most people.
Hmm.
Like 100 pounds overweight and you need to lose weight, yeah, you should probably use the scale. But if you're a female who's just trying to build more muscle, lose body fat, the scale might not change, but your body is changing dramatically, but always the number on the scale. So you think it's not working. So you start restricting, doing more cardio, messing up the whole process. When I know that my body now at 127, whatever fucking pounds I weigh, is way different than what I was way back when at the same weight because I have more muscle.
Yeah, I've gone through that before, and I should continue posting those transformations because my scale weight is relatively similar than a point in think it was 2017 when I had hired my first coach to help me. So scale weight to today is very similar, but I am in a drastically different body, like significantly more muscle, and we know that muscle is more dense. So now I love the way I look and I feel great in my body. And that's something too with the scale that can still mess with my head every so often. And something that I had learned to do, or someone may have told me this, if I'm looking in the mirror and I'm like, I love the way I look great. And the scale is a data point. And so I do weigh myself typically daily. And I guess it's just still out of a habit from when I was working with a coach, just because data is important. And I like data and numbers. We are heavy spreadsheet tracker people. But anyway,
Yep.
back to if I'm looking in the mirror and I'm like, I love the way I look. I feel great in my body, like internally, externally. Me stepping on the scale and looking at a number is not going to change that. I had to like actively tell myself that.
And that's
And
actually a
then,
really good way to detach yourself from the scale is weighing yourself daily. I think that so many people say, oh, I'm just not going to step on the scale because they're almost like afraid to see what it says. And I understand taking people away from the scale. I have to do it sometimes when people start a fitness journey. Hey, we're not going to weigh ourselves for 90 days because I want you to see the way your body transforms without relying on a scale. But also for people who really struggle with the scale, having them step on it every single day and seeing the fluctuations shows them that it's just fluctuations. If I'm 127 today and then I'm 129 tomorrow, it's like I didn't gain 2 pounds of body fat eating in the same amount of calories that I've been eating for forever. It's, oh, I had a really hard leg day yesterday. So my legs are inflamed. So I'm holding on to water, or I slept like shit last night. So I think for me, that's one thing that helped me detach myself from the scale is seeing how it fluctuates and understanding that even if I do try to restrict, the scale still went up. Wow. Okay. So it has absolutely nothing to do with that and everything to do with the stress and the inflammation response.
yeah, I love that. And I do think it's person to person or case by
Mm-hmm.
case with if getting on the scale or not is going to be helpful. And completely agree for me and the way I think about things, doing it every day and detaching, like talking to myself in the mirror first about these things, and then just using that number as one data point in a larger picture of multiple data points was very helpful. And again, comparing that to what was just going on in my life. What did I eat? Did we go out and have a restaurant meal that will usually impact me differently? But I also had noticed that over a multiple years' time, as I fixed my internal metabolism and got it more regulated,
Mm-hmm.
those vacations and restaurant meals, I no longer see huge spikes from
Yep.
that anymore. And I used to, there would be a 5+ pound spike sometimes. And that messes with you also, even
Mm-hmm.
though it's not body fat, but
Oh
it
yeah, it
still
still
messes with
messes
you.
with, yeah, 100%. And I think
Yeah.
that not a lot of women realize that is, hey, if you put muscle on and you get your metabolism in a healthier spot, you're not going to have to say, oh, like every time I eat out, it just sticks to me. No, it doesn't if you actually treat your metabolism right and strength train. But so many people are obsessed with, oh, calorie burn. So cardio burns the most calories in the moment, but then your body adapts to it. And with strength training, you're almost teaching your body how to burn more calories on its own.
Yes, efficiency. And that's
Mm-hmm.
what we're going for with everything we do. Like, how do we make this more efficient? And it's by building more muscle. And there is a pretty much a top end for everyone's genetics without
Right.
PEDs anyway. It's very difficult to achieve those bulky figures that so many women are afraid of. It's very difficult.
Very difficult. I think I almost laugh when I have a client who's like, I don't want to get too bulky. I put on muscle really fast. I'm like, no, you don't. Like, you don't. Trust me.
Yeah.
So it takes a lot of food and a lot of monitoring. Okay, I'm not doing too much steps. I'm not doing too much activity. Most women who are so obsessed with that are fidgety. They're always doing something. They're moving around. They're not going to gain a tremendous amount of weight from strength training. In fact, they're probably going to get the body that they want if they let go, eat enough to fuel their body, and train hard. And that's also like emphasis, train hard, push your body with the weights, because men are like this sometimes, but I find more of my female clients are, I'll look at their weights that they're using. I'm like, bruh. you can use heavier weights than that. Let's go. So then sometimes I'll have to literally say at X amount of weight.
Yeah, that makes sense. And that's the value of having a coach and recording your training sessions, have
Mhm.
someone else analyze you, because that was a lot of the feedback that I received initially was like, that looks great, but you can definitely go heavier. You need to go up. And the eating enough, training hard, and you can actually, what you had said, there was three things, but you will end up achieving like your dream body. And I will say I feel very much like, currently and in the last year, like I'm like, oh my God, I love the way I look. And
That's
I
awesome.
almost I hesitate to say it because I don't want to like sound weirdly narcissistic, but going through what we've been through, and
Yeah.
I never thought that I would look like this, that I'm like, oh my God, I have my like I screenshotted this on 2016 Instagram, like we were saying, as body goals. And I'm like, that's literally me now. And I never thought I would achieve it, but I just kept doing the same things over and over again. I literally just stuck with it.
Yeah. When it comes to strength training, like being strong just feels good. I don't know about you, but if I can deadlift like a lot of weight, that's way more, it feels way better than stepping on a scale and having it be a lower weight.
And I even more think about things in capability terms outside of the gym. With the property we have,
Yeah.
we do a lot ourselves, which can be stupid at times, but we enjoy projects, and especially like working together. And we he got me into video games with him, and so we like a lot of those teamwork games. And then I joke like when we're doing projects that I'm like, oh, it's like a video game but in real life because we have to work together. But I am not as strong as a over 200-pound 6 foot man, but I can still hold my own. And I always feel so good that I'm like, I am capable. I am part of this team. I can help. Like, we're moving something heavy the other day. We're always having to move stuff around. And I'm like, this is amazing. And I don't know why more people or women don't want to feel this strength, this capability
hmm
aspect.
I feel like we're starting to move in the right direction. I feel like I've been saying this for years, but I feel like we're starting to move in the right direction where women are actually starting to chase strength as opposed to trying to be skinnier and skinnier. Although sometimes Hollywood makes me second guess that because we have like actresses who look like they don't eat at all. But I think that there's been the term muscle mommy and all these things that have gone viral lately where it's, oh, okay, we're going to strength train. Like I go to a gym and I see women in the weights area. When I worked at a gym 10 years ago, I was the only girl in the strength training area. You know what I mean?
Same with me. And I go back to the gym that I worked at every time I visit my family in Illinois, so a couple times a year. And I have noticed a small increase in the number of women in the weight room area. Not as much as I like, but
Yeah. A
still a
little
small
bit.
increase. Yeah.
Keep pushing for it.
Yeah, but again, there are quite a few times where I would love to go up to women and help them and be like, hey, you could probably use some heavier weights, actually push yourself, but I don't want to get into an awkward situation with anyone. So I
I
just
totally get
say
that.
things in my head, but it's always wanting to come from a place of helping and love.
Yeah, of course. That just is who you are, right? You're a nurse. You just want to help people. And that's how you got into the content creation. It wasn't like for gloating. It was like, oh, how can I like educate? How can I help? How can I post my story or share my journey? So how did you get involved with Price Plow?
Oh, this would be a great time to tell my I thought I was having an allergic reaction to pre-workout story.
Oh, I feel like so many people have that same story.
Yeah, turns out it's beta alanine, but when I was looking up what I was experiencing, their information came up. And so I just started following them, and then I would like comment on their posts. Their account was maybe half of what it is now. So I would ask questions in the sticker boxes, and then they made a Discord, and I was fairly active in there talking with the other supplement fanatics, and just being one of the only females that was in the group. And I did start posting a bit of my own content and just chatted with Ben a little bit and was like,
Mhm.
hey, do you want to try out making content with us? I was like, yeah, hell yeah.
Please.
Yeah. Yeah, so that has pushed me to learn and grow in different ways that I always love that. I've learned how to edit videos. Granted, I'm not some pro at that and I'm quite slow still, but I'm learning new skills and it's allowed me to get better with my camera presence and talking. And I've always been an extremely talkative person. I will just talk all day, and having to actually consolidate some of my talking for videos has been difficult.
I hear that. I hear that. It's either like that or I'm like so introverted. It's actually hysterical that I do what I do.
It sometimes works very well though, because
Yeah.
like you're able to do it at home in your safe zone and
Yeah. And then if my husband's next door, I'm like, could you go away, please? I need you to not listen to what I'm saying.
yeah, I just struggle a little bit because we are in a small place. So I always have to be like, hey, I'm recording. You have to keep it down. Sorry. We
Yeah.
don't have big enough space yet.
Our walls are so thin and our dogs are so loud. So it's always like when I start recording, I hear them just like running around and my mic picks everything up. So it's like, okay, you're going outside now.
Yeah, luckily, I guess if we had two dogs, it would probably be that way. But
Yeah. Because then one's
unfortunately,
always
napping.
chasing another and it's just a mess.
Yeah, but we're gonna get two when we get a bigger place.
Yeah. What kind of dog do you have right now? Because he's
She is
cute.
a German Shepherd. Yeah, we got her from the Humane Society back in September. And then we did decide to do a DNA test because we were curious. And it turns out she's 100% German Shepherd, which is
That's really cool.
crazy. Yeah. And I love her so much.
Yeah, she's cute. No, it's funny because we got so our first one is a Great Pyrenees, 100%. And then our second one we thought was 100% Belgian Malinois. But I was like, I don't know, he's not growing at all.
Mm.
Something's not right here. So we got one of those DNA tests done. He is 0% Belgian Malinois. He's a super mutt. So he's like German Shepherd, he's Chihuahua, which is probably why he's so small and shakes. He's just so many different things. And I was like, we got scammed.
Oh no. Did you get him from a shelter or?
No, we just got him from somebody had puppies and was like,
Oh,
oh,
okay.
so they probably just didn't know any different.
Yeah.
He looks like a Belgian, so he must be a Belgian.
Yeah, we thought she had Malinois in her too, and we were like, we need to know if she's gonna be extra crazy.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, he's fucking psycho.
Yeah.
So then, with all the content creation and with everything that you're doing, do you have any goals with doing it full time, or do you want to stay nursing?
That is an ultimate goal. I'm sure my employer will never find this podcast, but it is a goal to leave the what I'm doing with nursing and be full time with. I would love to coach people in the future, and maybe you end up needing an assistant coach and maybe that works out, but I would love to, yeah, be coaching. I haven't been able to start that yet, just with everything else that I juggle. And then our
Yeah,
Airbnb is a full-time thing, and we are going to be doing content creation for that property. And just we have endless ideas for fun with that. And even actually taking it back and cataloging like start to finish because we've documented everything and we thought it would be really cool to ultimately share our journey of just two random kids starting a huge Airbnb.
yeah.
And then yeah, I love content creation, so I do want to keep going with that and work with more brands. I would love if I can be a supplement content guru with the Buff Bunny collection team, and I've tried to get into that. So maybe that'll be a thing in the future. Who knows?
It's funny because Heidi followed me the other day. And I was like, I almost screenshotted and sent it to you because I was like, holy shit. And I commented on her post and she commented back and was like, I'm so sorry I missed you at the Arnold. I love your reviews. And I was just like, I'm done. I give up.
That's
I win.
amazing.
I was like, the only person who would understand you.
I know. That's so amazing.
You'll get there because your shit is good. I think it just needs to be seen by more people.
Thank you. And that's also, I feel sad because I don't have enough time yet
Yeah.
to
A
do it,
hundred percent. Like I
get
have way
videos
more
out
time.
fast enough.
And I think that when it comes to coaching too, I actually, when we first spoke, I was like shocked you weren't already a coach because you would make a really good coach just because of your understanding of like habits and stuff. There's so many coaches that I talk to and they are just like, here's a meal plan. Here's this. No, they're all like sciencey based where it's like this study says this. And I'm like, yeah, but that doesn't actually make sense when it comes to human behavior.
Yeah. And that's the piece, you and I living through it and going through it. Even though I now work from home, I know what it's like to work outside the home. I know what
Yeah.
shift work is like. I know what night shift is like. I know how to organize your training and meals all around all that stuff. So I can definitely help a lot of people through, yeah, what has worked.
Yeah, and that's a big one. I have a couple clients who are night shift. I don't know why I have a couple clients who are night shift. Like that's I feel like very rare, but I have two or three of them. And it is a shit show to be just like very blunt with it.
It is absolutely a challenge, and it is an unfortunate like fact that you really can only make so much progress with things
Yeah.
because night shift biologically has downsides.
Your body's literally just fighting itself all the time. So
Yeah.
how I kind of want to end this is with a couple of, I'll say rapid fire, but it's probably not going to be rapid fire. But I want it, since you're in the supplement space, I need to ask certain questions. For example, what is your favorite energy drink?
I hate having to pick favorites, but I will pick easily my favorite brand is Ghost Energy. And favorite flavors, I always struggle to pick these. Sour Patch Kids Red Berry used to be up there, but it is no longer. I have one case left. But Ghost Welch's and the Warhead sour flavors and the sour pink lemonade, I do love the sour flavors.
I love the sour flavor. I love that sour pink lemonade is underrated. And it's just a flavor that I always forget about because it's not crazy. It's not limited edition. It's like just a flavor and it's really good.
Yeah, I feel like it doesn't get enough love in general
Mm-hmm.
because it seems boring in a sense.
Yeah.
I don't
Because you're
know.
like,
Yeah.
oh, it's like lemonade. I'm like, but it's like the best lemonade there is because it's actually like puckery like a lemonade should be.
And then I, of course, appreciate the Ghost Energy formula.
Oh, yeah.
And with having a shit ton of energy drinks in the house, different brands, different formulas, I do tend to be like strategic about what I'm going to drink for certain
Same.
things. If I am having a workout later and my workouts usually have to be later, so I'll take like a non-stim, but I'll have like certain energy drinks and I tend to do a C4 on those days. But if I
Mm-hmm.
know that I have heavy like mental work days, I like the formulas that provide those benefits. And Ghost Energy is one of them. Gorilla Mind and the New Rise are also great. And Bum is another top one I love because of the less caffeine, like it's in its uniqueness. And then I love C4 Energy and their Midnight Cherry, just as a favorite, is my favorite flavor from them. I am big in the cherry flavors, and it's funny because I know you're not.
Yeah. It's funny because if a cherry is done well, I'll enjoy it. I really like the ghost sour black cherry one. The Warheads one was
Mhm.
limited edition, of course. I like all the limited edition ones.
Yeah.
But so many cherries are not done right. And I think they come very medicinal because I'm like sensitive to it for whatever reason. Maybe I had
Mm.
too much NyQuil when I was younger. I don't know. But if a cherry's done well, I respect it versus this is just not done well.
The Midnight Cherry is so good,
I'll have to try that one because I
in my
haven't
opinion.
tried it. Is it an ultimate or is it a performance?
It's a yeah, regular performance.
Nice, because I can't do 300 milligrams. I will die.
Same. Honestly, the 200 is like pushing it for me sometimes,
Yeah,
which
sometimes I'll
I know,
drink it and I'm like, I really should have drank that slower.
yes, if I drink it too fast. Now I'm just anxious with a faster heart rate. Yay.
That's really true though, because I'm like, I'm anxious. Let me drink an energy drink. That sounds like the right thing to
Always. Yeah,
do.
definitely.
So, what about because we have so many proteins? Like, I was talking to my coach and I was like, I think I have 50 tubs of protein at this point and I don't know what to do with myself. But I know it probably changes, but what are like, we'll say like top three, top five favorite proteins at the moment?
Do you want the flavor brand
Yeah,
combo?
let's go the flavor brand combo because if we went brand, it's going to be like Muscle Sport, Core Nutritionals, the Gurus. Which also, speaking of Core Nutritionals, I have to now go back and do a reaction video to my own video because I thought it was mint chocolate and that the chocolate was light, but apparently it's vanilla mint.
Yes.
I am silly. So I'm going to make more content and make a reaction video to me because here's a lesson. You're not always right, but that's okay.
Yeah, that is okay.
Attention to details.
And as long as you're able to own it and address it, like I've made a mistake on something before and I was like, yep, I messed up.
I thought the chocolate was light, which makes me like it so much more now. Also, like,
I had it in a Ninja Creamy last night again.
oh,
It's so good.
I could see being so good in the Ninja Creamy too because of the blend.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And like I said, just milk and that works amazing. Don't
Mhm.
even need to add anything else.
Oh yeah,
And I've had so many good proteins.
it's so hard.
Yeah, and racking my brain for all of the ones I've tried. Ghost Chips Ahoy, I know is gone now, and I haven't tried the new cookie yet to compare it.
My
And
husband
they're,
loves it. I think he just likes it because at the bottom he gets cookies because he drinks
oh
it
yeah,
after his workout. So it's, oh, I drank my protein shake and now I have cookies.
yeah, that was so great. They have so many inclusions, and their Cinnabon, it's the caramel pecan that I have. I love those. And then thinking back to AN Performance had the two Chiquita banana flavors.
I've
It
heard
was
those are like elite.
They absolutely are. I'm gonna put together another one of those recent empties post, and that one is on my next one because I was not hoarding is the right word, but really savoring those out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a bag of each flavor. It was banana chocolate and peanut butter banana.
Mm.
Just outstanding flavors, and the texture of the blend just worked
Yeah.
so well with those. And Muscle Sport, I've had maybe 5 to 8 flavors. I know they have a ridiculous amount of
Yeah.
flavors, but the top one that comes to mind for me, carrot cake, that I loved from them.
I've heard that one's really good. I've heard it's like one of their best.
Yeah, and that's what hearing from other people, like not having tried all of them. Uh,
It's funny because before we started before I started working with Muscle Sport, I never like had any of their proteins. Like Jason sent me a sample pack because I would go on the website and I couldn't decide what I wanted because there are so many options. And I'm like, I wonder how often this happens where somebody doesn't make a purchase because they're so confused on what to get.
and there, not a lot of brands do this that I see. Correct me if I'm wrong, but they offer sample packs of
Yeah,
so
not
many
enough
of their
brands do that. It
flavors.
actually makes me annoyed when brands don't do that because I think it's such an easy like layup for a sale because it's like oh, it's not that expensive and I get to try all the flavors and then make an informed decision. It's going to lead to a future purchase unless your protein sucks, then it won't.
Yeah, and so they do a great job of people can try whatever flavor, but I know when people are asking for flavor recs for them, I'm like, seriously, you cannot go wrong. And I'll say this with Core, which I just did yesterday, you cannot go wrong. Just look at their flavors and pick whatever one sounds best to you.
Yeah.
And I'll give a nod to Muscle Tech had come out with, I think this was almost 2 years ago now. They were limited time flavors, but they were out for a while. It was a banana cream and a chocolate peanut butter. I did prefer the banana. They were both amazing, but probably the banana cream even more. But it was a really good banana cream.
Hmm.
Although I know Sport makes one that I haven't tried either.
Yeah, Muscle Sport is just it's just so good. Nobody can really beat them when it comes to flavors and when it comes to just like inclusions, the experience that you get from the protein itself. Like you said, it's literally like sorcery that it's whey protein isolate.
Yes, and they're so indulgent and unique. Like
Mm.
most of their flavors you're not finding from other brands.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. They have your classics, but for the majority it's oh, Dubai street chocolate which has like strawberries and Dubai chocolate. Crazy.
Hmm.
Perfect. So, really the last thing that I'm going to ask you is this is always a question, so think about it. You don't have to like give me an answer right away. But if somebody's listening to this and they're in a spot where maybe they're struggling with something, whether it be like disordered eating or struggling because they want to achieve X, like maybe they want to have an Airbnb, but they don't know how to start. What would you say to somebody who's afraid to start something?
Some of the only regrets I have in life is not doing something sooner or not starting something sooner. So if there is something that you're interested in or you want to do, seriously just get started. And we're also big into finance and investments. And they always say time in the market is better than timing the market. And that's so applicable to anything else. Is just get started and spend your time, well, to that analogy, in the market. But just get started with something and you'll make mistakes and figure it out along the way rather than just sitting and waiting for the perfect time that you think you need because there usually isn't ever a perfect time. Yeah.
Yeah, true. Everybody's always waiting for the perfect time, but there's always something that makes it imperfect. So you just got to jump.
Yep. And when I started working with the last coach that I worked with for, it was almost 4 to 5 years with him, I had a exploratory laparotomy like 6 weeks prior, and then I just started a travel nurse contract out of state. And like I asked to postpone starting coaching, and he was like, "No, this we're doing it." And I was like, "All right, we're doing it." And so, yeah, timing was what I would call it. Absolutely not ideal, not perfect, because again, I was like living in a hotel and having to meal prep, but it taught me so many tools to just figure it out.
Yep.
And it's
And it
either
makes it so much easier than when you have less going on because you can handle it when you have so much going on.
exactly, and that's something a lot of people don't realize. And if you have the ability, you either just figure it out or you don't reach the goals you want to reach. So like when those are your two options, you figure it out or you
Yeah.
don't hit your goals.
And the reality is you usually always can figure it out. Like we
Hmm.
worry so much about things and at the end of the day we usually figure it out.
Yep. And that's what Jonathan and I talk about with our rental too. There has been a lot of trials and tribulations we've been through, but ultimately we figure it out, whatever it's going to take. We just start problem solving and we come out better because we've learned new skills and new knowledge. And yeah,
Hell yeah. Awesome. Plug your Instagram for the people so they can follow you and I'll put it down below in the show notes too.
awesome. Thank you. So I am at Primo Victoria underscore RN. And for those who don't know, there is a heavy metal band called Sabaton that has an awesome song called Primo Victoria. So give that a listen, everyone. It could be a great new gym song for you. And it means, depending on translation, first to victory or victory first, which I also like those phrases.
That's awesome. I like that actually.
So that's why we changed that a couple years ago. And quite a few of the Price Plow Discord members were familiar with that brand. And so they gave me some thumbs up for it.
That's awesome. Awesome. I'll put all of your information down below so that everybody can follow her and see what she's doing. And everybody who's listening, go out and do one thing that's going to take you one step closer to where you want to be.